Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Lynch, and I want to welcome you to the Buddhist Vesak celebration on behalf of the Buddhist Council of New York. I want to take a special time out to thank the Jung Myung Sa Buddhist Temple for allowing us to use their wonderful temple, which is extremely beautiful. And I want to also thank Venerable Doshin specifically for him allowing us the use of his temple during this challenging time of the pandemic. With those beginning remarks, I wanted to just say some words of respect on this, the May the 1st, Vesak, on behalf of the Buddhist Council of New York. Good afternoon. Again, my name is James Lynch, and I'm the current president of the Buddhist Council of New York. On this day of the ceremony marking Shakyamuni's Vesak celebration, I, James Lynch, sincerely offer these words of respect. Indeed, I'm extremely grateful to join with all of you to celebrate Vesak, Shakyamuni Buddha's solemn day, acknowledging the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and pari-nirvana. Shakyamuni Buddha, in whom we take refuge and wholeheartedly revere, lived more than 2,000 years ago in the distant past. From the time of his sacred birth and his renouncing secular life, he taught the way, hoping to overcome the suffering of life and to liberate all people. It is important to keep in mind that Shakyamuni humbly and sincerely renounced his status as a prince, his wealth, and left behind his home and wife and child that he loved. Undertaking various harsh ascetic practices, he learned from experience that the way to the truth about life could not be attained solely by hurting the flesh. Shakyamuni was finally free from all delusions and realized the truth of the universe, the wondrous Dharma. Upon attaining supreme awakening, his first words were, "Wonderful, wonderful, all living beings without exception possess the wisdom and the virtuous signs of the thus come one. But they simply do not know this because they have attachments and illusions." Indeed, in other words, all of us inherently possess the same potential for wisdom and compassion as the Buddha. However, our eyes have not yet opened to this truth, because they are unfortunately covered by greed, anger, ignorance, and delusions. After more than 40 years of tirelessly and unceasingly helping to liberate all walks of people, Shakyamuni, who was more than 80 years old, instructed his disciples in the mental attitude toward the practice that they should adopt after he passed away, which is, make yourself the light, make the Dharma your light. He left behind these final words: all phenomena are constantly changing. Endeavor to practice my teachings diligently. He then tranquilly entered nirvana under the twin trunk sala trees at midnight. Indeed, the wonderful thing for me, and that what I enjoy so much by being with you all today, is the various venerable monks and nuns who are here today in person and on Zoom. They represent an unbroken chain from the very heart and spirit of Shakyamuni to us in this present day of seamless, endless challenges. So on this blessed day of Vesak, this sacred day, we remember Shakyamuni, his compassion for our lives, and humbly thank him and renew our vows to happily and joyfully follow in his footsteps. Let us pray that Shakyamuni, whom we devoutly revere, the Buddhas, Arhats, Bodhisattvas, and countless heavenly beings who are omnipresent in the 10 directions, who guided us to this practice, will watch over our Buddhist practice and extend their hands of compassion and guidance so that world peace will be achieved. We also pray that not only the world of human beings, but the world of all living beings and the whole of Mother Earth will find peace. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. May the 1st, 2021, James A. Lynch, the current president of the Buddhist Council of New York, I have respectfully offered these words of respect. So thank you very much. And so now we're going to start with, I don't know, if I can't tell from the screen, just a second, thank you. Nakagaki is helping me. We have to see the screen for everyone. But I don't know, is he? Okay, so we're gonna start with Venerable Yu Wang of the International Buddhist Progressive Society. She's here and she's going to offer us prayers and chanting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James, and then for having us over here. Today I have my colleague Venerable Miao Zhu with me, And then also, I just want to thank all the venerables and to join us together over here in this event. Today, in the beginning, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start it with a prayer. The prayer is from our headquarters, and okay, yes. The prayer is from our headquarters, and then it's being recorded, and then but it's a prayer for the world peace. So it has now allowed me to start a prayer on here. Sorry, I've got to share the sounds first. I have to come back again.
A Prayer for World Peace by Venerable Master Xing Yun, founder of Foguangshan. O great compassionate Buddha, please listen to these words from our hearts. The rumbling of war between nations, the clamor of discord between people, the roar of greed in the rapids of craving, the growl of hatred among races. These sounds are like tidal waves storming against our hearts. These sounds are like hurricanes pounding against our hearts. As we observe all of this, we realize that all human suffering originates from our self-conceit, prejudice, and delusion. As we contemplate all of this, we realize that all worldly turmoil is caused by our attachment to things, dharma, and relationships. Disagreement between different people has caused so many arguments. Discrimination between different races has caused so many disasters. Intolerance between different religions has caused so many misfortunes. Conflicts of interest between different nations has caused so much chaos and upheaval. Living in this kind of world, every day we live in fear with no ease. Every day we live in senselessness with no peace. O great compassionate Buddha, please listen to our sincerest prayer. We sincerely wish that in this world there will be no jealousy, only admiration, no hatred, only harmony, no greed, only generosity, no harm, only achievement. O great compassionate Buddha, let people of different ages live in harmony. Let people of different social status have mutual respect. Let people of different professions work in cooperation. Let people of different religions practice with tolerance. O great compassionate Buddha, you once said, the mind, Buddha, and all sentient beings are no different from one another. You, I, and others are all equal. We need to learn from you the wisdom to close the distance between self and others. We need to learn from you the selflessness to eliminate all of our attachments. We need to learn from you the truth to resolve the confrontations between races. We need to learn from you the compassion to reconcile the conflicts between nations. We need to learn from you the Buddha light to illuminate the darkness of the world. O great compassionate Buddha, please hear our sincerest prayer. Please bestow peace upon the world. Please bless all sentient beings with harmony. O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer. O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer.
Mo Omitofo. So as you can see from this prayer, it's from our master, and the video, the scene, the picture, it's in our headquarters, our main shrine. So I think from this prayer, it says all, and it seems like it talking to us and then teaching us about today, now, and what we are facing. I think as long as we go back to Buddha's original intent and all the Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching, I think this world will come to the peace very soon. So now next, I'm going to have the chanting. The chanting, we are going to chant the verse of the bathing Buddha. And this is the lyrics because the chanting, we will chant in Mandarin. And also actually, that's a video recorded from last year in our bathing Buddha ceremony. And this year is coming soon, will be on the May 16th. We were holding the bathing Buddha ceremony in our temple. We also will do it on the live stream on the 16th at 10 o'clock. So if everyone were interested, and then welcome to our YouTube channel to join us. And also on the May 9th, we have the bathing Buddha tent in our parking lot. We open to the public, and then who will be interested and also can then people to come. So now I'm going to have this chanting video. Thank you. And so that's our chanting bathing Buddha service from last year. And because we will have before the service, we have the offering service. I believe if Venerable Odibiku remember, and then you would join us a couple years ago, and that was more crowded, with the devotees. But because the pandemic, and then so we put a lot of things online. So this is I'm going to share with everyone. This is very interesting, and it's a virtual Buddhist cultivation. And this is a website. This website actually it's from our headquarters. I think I can come to. Okay, I probably just directly share the link. I just want to show everyone the link. It's a very simple.
Thank you.
Yes, it would be okay. Here.
We can see the link.
Yeah, I'm going to show you the link. It's somewhere.
All right. You can actually put the link in the chat box.
Yeah, I can, okay, I will put the link in the chat box for everyone to take a look. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, everyone.
Venerable Yuan. Thank you very much. We will now have prayers by Venerable Bhante Kandanya of the Buddhist Vihara community.
Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable. You can come up here.
Can you speak?
Happy Vesak Day to all of you. Dear Venerable Mahasangha, friends of the Dhamma. Today, the New York Buddhist Council of New York is celebrating the Buddha's birth. And according to their tradition, we always do mark the same day, birth, enlightenment, passing away, as the day of Vesak. So this year, many of us are gathering, being in distance virtually. Reason behind this, of course, we know that since 2019 we are experiencing this pandemic situation. I think this is the time that we really can practice the Dharma, what he taught. His Dharma is very appropriate today. As we see, we have to reflect on what we have been doing, and we have to think of if we have been doing it right, or if there's anything missing, or do we have to change our way. So all these things, it is time for us to reflect on and correct ourselves. Nature has given, not only who are living here in the New York, but around the world, everybody is experiencing these difficulties. This time, so I like to recite what comes in one of the gathas, one of the stanzas in the Dhammapada. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sukho buddhanam uppado sukha dhammassa desana sukha sanghassa samaggi samagganam tapo sukho sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanam etang buddhana sasanam. Happy is the Buddha's birth. Happy is the teaching of the Dhamma to nature, about the world and about the beings. Sukha sanghasa samaggi, always pleasure, it is always happy that Sangha come united. So I think all these things are true for when we think about. So as a Sangha members coming together, we all can serve the world, sharing the teachings of the remind people how we can practice our spirituality. Loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. These are the 4 qualities Buddha explained as sublime state of mind. So if we all can, wherever we are, if we can live in this Dhamma, so we are righteously living, that brings peace, that brings happiness to us as well as the others. So I believe all of us can work on this path, the teaching, so what we all share, and without doing anything evil. Sabba papa sakaranam, stay away from all evil, do good, purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Very brief. So we all can practice these things because we all share these parts of the Dhamma. So therefore, by practicing on this, the day of Vesak, the day of, today is actually first day of Vaishaka. Vaishaka means that is what we call Vesak. In Sanskrit, it's called Vaishaka, month of Vaishaka. So plenty of flowers, plenty of fruits around. So this is the time Buddha was born and his teaching came to exist, and he also passed away. So having this, we are all very fortunate. Why? We all are living in the time that Dhamma is existing. Through the Dhamma, we can see the Buddha. Through the Buddha, Dhamma, and then we can form our Sangha. Coming together, we can serve our humanity. Humanity is the first stage. So may we have strength and courage to practice together and serve the world together. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhan bhavena sabba dhamman bhavena sabba sanghan bhavena tadatu he bhavantu te. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable Bhante Kandanya. Thank you. I had it for you. Thank you so much. Next, we have Venerable Tulka Urgen Sherpa and Lama Ang Badu Sherpa of the United Sherpa Association.
Good afternoon, Venerable all monks, all the brothers and sisters, and today is the Shakyamuni's birthday. We are going to celebrate, and we are so happy to do the birthday celebrate and to pray. So I have not that much work to say, and so we are going to pray for the old peace, Three Ratnas, Smriti Sutra. So please join us to pray this. Nam se nam ta pa se pa ita se cho ju shi na shu sang ye cha dang ge de bo be zo kun la cha dang da ja ta shi bro mi ju la da da And we wish in the world, so we all have to be happy, healthy, long life, and prosperity. So thank you so much for the organizer. So we are here to we're here, John Mayong Buddhist Temple, New York, Queens, in Flushing today. So thank you so much.
Thank
the
you.
organizer.
Thank you both so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful prayers and chanting. Thank you. Now we're going to enter another phase of the Vesak celebration today. Let me take this off so people can hear me better. We're going to enter another phase of the Vesak celebration today, which is the bathing of the baby Buddha. I guess we'll line up and do the ceremony of pouring water over the Buddha, and Venerable Doshin of this temple will chant as we do so. Thank you so much. So if we can line up and do social distancing while we do it, so we're not all crowded on each other, but please come and take time. You can come, doesn't matter. Thank you so much, Venerable Doshin. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have some Dharma talks. First will be Venerable Pat Roshi Enkyo O'Hara of the village Zendo, a great friend of the council. Is she there? Yes. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much, James, our president, James Lynch, for all that you do for the Buddhist Council of New York. Deeply appreciated your work for us all. And also for those who offered beautiful prayers. It filled my heart with gratitude and appreciation of all the different strains of Buddhism that we represent and that we value. So beautiful. And also the other speakers today for this celebration, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, Reverend T.K. Nakagaki, and Reverend Duncan Ryukin Williams. Thank you all for joining us in this celebration of the Buddha's birth, insight, and teaching. How fortunate we are that all of us have encountered the Buddha Dharma in our lifetime. What a fortune that is. And that encounter with the spiritual and reality of the teachings that was handed down to us in generations, different cultures, are with us today and represented in this solemn, beautiful temple and Zoom. How marvelous it is for us, huh? May we all treasure the Buddha Dharma as each of us understand it in our difference and in our unity. We share these powerful and wise teachings that have come to us to help us to realize their effects on the earth and its people today. All of us Buddhists take time, particularly during Vesak, to acknowledge and offer gratitude and appreciation for the Asian source of our spiritual tradition. Buddhism was born in Asia and traveled from northern India in many directions, southern, northern, and eastern Asia, as we might say, to all of Asia as we know it. It has finally come to the West, to my great appreciation. But we all bow our heads in appreciation for the many forms of Buddhism that were protected and nourished by the many Asian cultures. And sadly, and with a broken heart, I must say that the very cultures and peoples who protected and nourished and developed the passionate and wise Buddhist practices that we all study and revere, these cultures and peoples are now under attack here in this country and here in this very city that we live. I bow my head in sadness at this state of affairs. And I ask myself, what can I do to make amends and stop this attack on the people and cultures that I so revere? In answer, I look to our Asian tradition, the heart of the moral and ethical teachings of the Buddha. I look at the precepts as I have received them. We are now some 2,500 years from the beginnings of this tradition, a tradition that spread throughout Asia and now throughout the whole world. Many people, many cultures, many languages have embraced the core Buddhist principles of moral and ethical teachings. And there's change. It's inevitable. Throughout the history of Buddhism, the language and understanding of the moral and ethical precepts have evolved to fit the cultural and linguistic differences, the different places that they went. So today I want to share a Western, postmodern, Zen peacemaker version of the three pure precepts. The Zen peacemakers treasure these three precepts as three ways to understand and act from, essentially, to live within the more prescriptive grave precepts of not killing, not lying, not stealing. So the three pure precepts can serve as a way to understand how we can negotiate the moral and ethical guidance. And I believe they help us to understand how, precisely how, we're or delay. Both of these form a really helpful map of how to intervene when I witness any kind of anti-Asian attack. Not knowing, the first pure precept, some call it not doing evil, not creating evil. But not knowing can help us to the second precept.
My phone is the primary feed. I just want to make sure they know that. Okay, just in case, so you know. Thank you.
Let me know.
Thank you.
I just
Thank
have
you.
a couple of points to make.
Thank you.
Was it the wind? Did it knock out?
That's a good question.
It was here we had a wind so strong it broke a branch off a big tree.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
JK, are you telling me to go ahead? Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now? Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, appreciate very much thank you for waiting. And
Right. I only have 2 more precepts to go.
are you sure?
I promise. So
Okay.
I was saying that
Now
the
you-
first precept of not doing evil.
Yeah, appreciate very much thank you for waiting. And,
Right.
what is going on now?
Precepts to go.
What does it? What is that?
So I
Wait,
was
wait, wait,
saying
wait. What's going on here? Just 1 second. Something is going on wrong. What is going on now? Whoa, what's going on? I don't know. What's going on here? Just 1 second. Something is going on wrong. It's a Facebook. Actually, Facebook Live is something going on too.
turn off the volume.
Turn off the microphone too.
What's going on? I don't know. What's going on here? Just 1 second.
Mute everyone except the speaker.
Is that good now?
Facebook. Actually, Facebook Live is something going on too.
Turn off the volume.
Wow. So I guess we will just give up for the Facebook maybe.
Everyone except the speaker.
Is that good now?
Uh-huh. Okay, now can you continue?
Yes, I'm happy to. So my point was that not doing evil
Give up for the
is
Facebook.
when we're walking down the street, we see it, something happening. We don't immediately create a scenario, but we enter it from an open mind. What is happening? Is there harm being created, or is this a joking going on? What is happening? Something happening. We don't immediately create a scenario, but we enter it from an open mind. What is happening? Just turn your volume off. Or is this a joking going on? What is happening? Something happening. We don't immediately create a scenario, but we enter it from an open mind. What is happening? Just turn your volume off.
Don't know if they're gonna figure it out. What's happening now? I have
Okay.
a person.
What happening is I don't know what's the Facebook Live is somehow here from this machine, and then that's the overlap to whatever you said. So it's like a 20-second late the sound come. So I'm going to actually probably in this case I have to turn off the Facebook part probably, and so I'll rely on the recording here, and then later on we're going to share the whatever things happens. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Now it should be able to continue.
Oh, thank you. I know it's so difficult, and I appreciate your efforts so much, TK and James. Just to say that entering the new situation with not knowing is much like not creating evil. Secondly, we have doing good. And that would be when we enter a situation, we see that it needs some help, some intervention, that we be prepared to do some kind of intervention. And usually that is not any kind of anger provoking. It's quite the opposite. It's find a way to distract or change the volume of what's going on. Stop and look. Bear witness to what is really happening here. I mean, it could be just a couple that are having an argument. You really take a look at the situation. And then that's when you need to act, which is the third pure precept, doing good for others. What do we do in terms of healing ourselves and others in such a situation? We can recognize the pain and suffering of the perpetrator, perhaps. We can see that the one is the one that is in need of attention at that point. There are so many skillful ways to distract and redirect the energy that's going on. And sometimes it's a matter of directly engaging them. I have found that it's enough to go and stand next to someone who is being verbally attacked, and the attacker walks away just by virtue of, oh, there's a person, passerby, that is stopping and is joining with that person. You let the person that is being attacked know that they are being supported. These are just very simple bystander ways. It doesn't involve any kind of violence on your part. It is merely standing up for those that are being attacked. So these precepts of not creating evil, doing good, and doing good for others can help us at this time in this city where our Asian brothers and sisters are being attacked. It is a difficult and angry time in this country, but I'm confident that if we continue to practice our precepts and model that for others, that this too will change. So thank you for letting me join you today.
Thank you. Ankle.
Thank you, Roshi. It's a great reminder. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Roshi, come on, Baron Nakagaki. You can come. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for those powerful words. Right. I also think we have a new precept, patience with computers, that we're going to have going forward, right? That we've now developed in the second. So now we'll have a wonderful Dharma talk from Bhikkhu Bodhi, who of the Changyang Monastery, but he's well known in the Buddhist community for his translations, his compassion, regarded with food, care, Buddhist Action Coalition. He's a tremendous friend and guide of the Buddhist Council of New York. So with that, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, thank you so much.
Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Okay, thank you very much. And I thank James for inviting me to speak this afternoon. I really felt so sorry for Roshi Enkyo that the computer or the sound transmission kept on getting interrupted during our talk. And I keep on praying, I hope it won't happen to me. And let me also express my appreciation to James for all of the activities that he has initiated after becoming the president of the Buddhist Council of New York. I know just a few weeks ago, he had organized the walk of mindfulness and love to oppose hatred against people of Asian descent living in New York City. And almost immediately after that, he had started the preparations for this Vesak, online Vesak gathering. And also I appreciate the help that Reverend TK has been lending to him. And I remember a few years ago when we all gathered at that lovely temple in Queens of Venerable Doshin, and we had a very joyful Vesak celebration that day. At that time, we had no idea that just 2 years down the line, 2 or 3 years, we would all be locked living under lockdown conditions. Yeah, so when we celebrate Vesak as the day that commemorates the birth, the enlightenment, and the pari-nirvana of the Buddha. And in all of the texts of the ancient Buddhist traditions, there is a set of qualities of the Buddha. So when we recollect the Buddha, we do so usually by turning over in the mind this list of 9 or 10 designations. And one of these has always made a very deep impression on me. Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati, that the Buddha is the unsurpassed trainer of persons to be tamed. And the reason why persons have to be tamed, the persons being we ourselves, is because we have various kilesas, defilements, delusions, afflictions. And it's said that the Buddha is like the great physician for the world. And just as a skilled physician will have different medicines for different illnesses and will prescribe the right medicine for the right illness, so the Buddha has many different skillful means of Dharma teaching to tackle the defilements in the minds of the people that he's teaching. And we find the illustrations of how the Buddha is the supreme trainer of persons to be tamed in the narrative heritage of Buddhism. Usually when we turn to Buddhism, we start looking, what are the Buddhist doctrines and practices? So we know the Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, 3 characteristics, Noble Eightfold Path. But there's another side to Buddhism that is often neglected in the West, and that is the rich heritage of stories, which show the Buddha in interaction with the people of his time from many different walks of life, showing how the Buddha was able to address each person at his or her own level and subdue their defilements, lead them onto the path, and bring them to the state of liberating enlightenment. And so I just want to, rather than give a heavy doctrinal type of talk, draw on some of these stories which illustrate the Buddha's skill as a teacher in dealing with particular defilements of the mind. Now, one of the most persistent, and I would say the destructive defilements in the human mind is anger. Anger, which lies at the root of so much violence, harm, injury, conflict, and even war. And there's a little story that comes in the Samyutta Nikaya that illustrates how the Buddha dealt with anger. At this time, the Buddha had been teaching a clan of Brahmins, and the number of the Brahmins embraced the Buddha's Dhamma. And one of the leaders of that Brahmin clan went forth into homelessness, became a monk, and achieved arhatship. His cousin heard about this and became very angry with the Buddha. What is this bald-headed guy coming to our village, speaking to our people, converting them to his religion? We are Brahmins, the preservers of the ancient Vedic heritage. He's undermining our tradition. So in a fit of anger, he came to the Buddha and started scolding him, upbraiding him, abusing him over and over, using very harsh, violent words against the Buddha. The Buddha just remained there listening patiently. And when the Brahmin finished speaking, the Buddha said to him, Brahmin, do you ever invite guests to come to your house? And the Brahmin was a little puzzled. Where's the Buddha taking me? He's not addressing directly my criticisms. But of course, he just answered, he said, yes, of course I have guests that come to my house. Then the Buddha said, when they come, do you treat them sometimes to some snacks, refreshments, even a meal? And the Brahmin said, of course, that is part of our tradition. We regard the guests almost like a god, and so we have to offer them something to eat or to drink. Then the Buddha said, what happens if you offer the snack and they don't eat it? Then the Brahmin said, in that case, it still belongs to me. Then the Buddha said, exactly in the same way, you've come offering me these angry, abusive words, but I don't accept them. And so they still belong to you. And when he said this, then the Brahmin just suddenly he realized the futility of angry words. And then the Buddha spoke to him a verse. He said, one who repays an angry man with anger thereby makes things worse for himself. Not repaying an angry person with anger, one wins a battle hard to win. And when the Buddha spoke that verse and several other verses, the Brahmin's mind suddenly opened up, and not only did he pay respects to the Buddha, but he himself embraced the Buddha Dharma and became a monk and achieved arhatship. Okay, another affliction or defilement of the human mind is conceit. And so there's another story that illustrates how the Buddha dealt with conceit. And again, this involves a Brahmin. I hope if there are any Brahmins listening, I hope you won't be upset by this. Okay, there was a certain Brahmin who is said didn't pay respects to his parents, to his teachers, to his elders. And so he was very arrogant. Even they called him stiff with pride. And he heard that the Buddha had come to town and was teaching. And he thought, I'm going to go to listen to the Buddha speak. If the Buddha addresses me, sort of that would be catering to his pride, then I'll speak politely to him and join the conversation with him. But if the Buddha doesn't welcome me and address me, I'm going to do something to spite him. Right in the middle of his discourse, I'm going to turn around and leave the assembly. And so the Brahmin went to hear the Buddha speak. The Buddha was speaking to a group of village people, and he sat down, and the Buddha just went on speaking, but didn't turn to the Brahmin to welcome him, but to address him. So then, about halfway through the Buddha's talk, the Brahmin got up, turned around, and started to leave. But now the Buddha said, "O Brahmin, conceit is never good. If you are conceited, you're going to you're going to create harm for yourself and harm for others." And when the Brahmin heard this, he realized that the Buddha was able to read his mind, and that he came to the Buddha, paid respects to the Buddha, and then the Buddha instructed him of the importance of showing respect and reverence to others, especially to parents, teachers, and elders. Okay, there's another little story which illustrates the way the Buddha dealt not so much with conceit, but maybe we'll call this vanity. And this is vanity based on physical beauty. Now, there was a king in the Buddha's time, the king of the state of Magadha, modern day Bihar, King Bimbisara. And Bimbisara had a consort whose name was Kema, who is supposed to be very, very beautiful. And also she was very vain because of her beauty. And she never wanted to go to hear the Buddha speak because he thought that he's an ascetic who doesn't have any regard for physical beauty. But her husband, King Bimbisara, was a follower of the Buddha, and he put some pressure on her and persuaded her to go to listen to the Buddha speak. Okay, so when she came to the assembly, she was still filled with this vanity and pride because of her beauty. And the Buddha used his psychic power as a way to transform her. What the Buddha did was to create, through kind of magical power, psychic power, the image of a beautiful young woman standing next to him with a fan fanning him. And when Kema came to the assembly, she looked up, she saw this beautiful young woman next to the Buddha. And then sort of naturally, she started to compare the beauty of this young woman with her own beauty. And she felt uncomfortable because this young woman was more beautiful than she was. Everybody in Rajgir regarded her as the crown beauty of the city. But now there was this young woman, even more beautiful than herself. But now the Buddha used his psychic power to suddenly transform that young woman who seemed to be about 16 years old. Suddenly, while she's standing there fanning the Buddha, her age starts to speed up. So she goes from 16, within a few seconds, she's 18. A few more seconds, she's in her 20s. A few more seconds, she's in her 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. This old woman standing next to the Buddha, fanning him. And then she topples over, falls to the ground, and dies. And then the body vanishes. And with that, Kema realizes the futility, the transience, the impermanence of physical beauty. And then she loses all interest in her position as the consort of King Bimbisara. She achieves arhatship right on the spot, even as a laywoman. And then she asks the Buddha to be admitted into the monastic order. She becomes a bhikkhuni, a Buddhist nun, and she's later appointed by the Buddha as the foremost bhikkhuni with regard to wisdom. Okay, I'll tell one more story. And this is a story that, excuse me, I want to get some water. A story that comes in the Therigatha, the verses of the ancient monks about a man by the name of Sunita. Sunita was, in the Indian caste system, he was an outcast. His job was basically, he was a garbage collector, which in Indian society was regarded as very, very low occupation. And he would go to the backs of the houses every day to collect the garbage that had been discarded. Okay, so one day as he's walking through the back alley collecting the garbage, he sees out of the field of his vision, the corner of his field of vision, he sees a group of people approaching, and he looks up, and who is there? But it's the Buddha walking down the lane at the head of a company of monks. And Sunita is terrified because he's just considers himself a worthless outcast. And here comes the great Shakyamuni, the sage of the Shakyan clan, at the head of this assembly of monks. And he's afraid, according to the Brahminic rules, even his shadow is not supposed to fall upon one from the upper caste. And so the Buddha comes walking down, getting closer and closer, and Sunita is sort of crouching against the wall, trying to push himself almost out of the Buddha's field of vision. But it's no use. The Buddha comes right in front of him. And Sunita joins his hands and looks up at the Buddha, and suddenly some words come out of his mouth that he had never expected to utter. He says to the Buddha, "Venerable, can I join your order of monks?" And the Buddha says, "You are welcome. Come, O monk." And so Sunita becomes ordained as a monk. And now in the Buddhist order, all caste distinctions dissolve. He's just one of the monks. So a short time later, he goes off into seclusion to meditate. And as he's meditating through the night, in the first watch of the night, he gains the recollection of his past lives. He remembers all his past existences over many, many past aeons. And in the middle watch of the night, he gains the divine eye by which he can see how beings pass away and take rebirth according to their karma. And then in the last watch of the night, he penetrates the Four Noble Truths and achieves arhatship, becoming fully liberated. And then as the night is coming to an end, Saka, the king of the gods, descends from the heavenly realm in front of Sunita and bows down to him to pay homage to him. And then a little bit later, Mahabrahma, the higher divinity of the Brahma world, comes down in front of Sunita to pay homage to him. And so this former outcast who is despised and neglected by human beings is now a fully liberated arhat, worshipped by the gods and the Brahmas. And then the Buddha, with his own divine eye, is watching the scene, and he recites a verse that it is not by birth, not by lineage, that one becomes a Brahmin, a true holy person, but it is by purity of conduct, by purity of mind, by the development of wisdom, that one becomes a true Brahmin, a true holy man. Okay, so these are just some stories from the Buddha's time, which I think should remind us of how people from the Buddha's time who were quite ordinary people, they weren't born with extraordinary saintly capacities, but through encountering the Buddha Dharma and learning the appropriate way of practice, they were able to take in the medicine of the Dharma and utterly transform themselves to become enlightened, liberated human beings. And so in our own time, though we might be aware of our own weaknesses, our own defects, our own inner defilements, we should have the courage, the confidence, the trust that by following this precious teaching, we too are capable of this ultimate transformation to the height of purity and holiness. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and may the blessings be on everyone on this occasion of Vesak.
Thank you so much, Bhikkhu. It was a beautiful talk.
Yes, it was. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. Thank you so much. Wonderful story. Wonderful stories. Next, we have Venerable TK Nakagaki to offer SU. Huh? Oh, there we do it now. We're going to give before that, people see my voice.
Okay, I think.
Hi, everybody. You can hear me. Again, my name is James Lynch, and we had an award in the memory of Venerable Piatissa. Venerable Piatissa, the first, I think, we're all, what'd you say? First president of the Buddhist Council, but I want to say more importantly than that, he's one of the true leaders of Buddhism in the United States. He helped establish the UN Vesak celebration. And what we did on the council this year, we've started to give an award in his name. And here it is. And because the last time we were supposed to give it, at the Buddhist Forum. But unfortunately, it was totally remote. And so we had to wait until this time so that I could give it to Reverend Dr. TK Nakagaki. Let me read you what the award says. Let me say the whole thing. It's the Venerable Piatissa Award 2021, awarded again to Reverend Dr. TK Kenjitsu Nakagaki for his outstanding work in exemplifying the living spirit of Buddhism of make yourself the light, make the Dharma the light in daily affairs by putting others first. Palms together, the Buddhist Council of New York. Venerable Nakagaki, here you go, let me put on my face.
It's okay.
So I'm very happy to give this award.
So I guess.
So you can take a picture, Diane?
Oh.
Diane's going to take a picture. Please stand there so she can take a picture.
You got a picture.
Yes, I want to hand it to you. Yes, Father Kandanya, please. Yes, come on. Father Kandanya is one of the, I don't know if the people can see us on the thing, they cannot. Yeah, move it there so they can see.
But this one is, I don't know.
That's all. But hopefully you can see for a second. Let's take a, you can stand there, please. Right. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now you're going to say some words. Please say some words over here. Back to the computer. I'm sorry, everyone. I know you can't see so well, but I wanted to make sure that Venerable Nakagaki got the award today, since we were able to meet in person in a safe place.
Yeah, so, okay, whatever this happens. Can you hear me all right? Okay, can you hear me okay, I guess? So I just wanted to, oh, great. So let me mute everybody else, but I think. Thank you so much for this. And yeah, I'm very grateful for this, especially Bhante Piatissa has been always a long-time president for me for the Buddhist Council. And then he was, it's just almost impossible to follow the way that he lived his life and then the dedication to the Dharma. But then I think it's the spirit of the Dharma, the dedication of the Dharma is carried here in New York or this Buddhist Council, and hopefully this will be continued for even or the next generation, following generation, or the generation to come. And so with that, I just wanted to humbly accept this award. So thank you so much. So when the last time is supposed to be, I was 50s, but now I'm 60s. So it's just getting old. It seems that way. But talking about the big body, talking about the old age all of a sudden, it's just feel like I'm 50s 2 months ago, and then now this month I'm already 60s. So that's something interesting. So I guess thank you so much for this. And I just wanted to continue for my parts of the talk today. And so that'll be okay, I guess so. And oh, I don't have to carry mic, right? I guess.
No.
So yeah. So anyway, first of all, yeah, happy Vesak Day to everyone. And I wanted to sort of recognize all the people who have been working together for this time of the Vesak, because of course, we have a lot of trouble for the internet. So I don't know what we can do about this, but I guess that's the time that we are living in. So it's always challenging for everything that we're going to do. But anyhow, let me just cover it anyway. So just to avoid some people may feel uncomfortable, then I just wear this. And so I try to speak a little louder than I can do. And so for today's, since the Buddha's birthday, actually especially for Japanese tradition now. And so I just wanted to share what it means to the Buddha's birthday to me, actually. It's I'm going to share, basically I'm going to talk from the beginning what we're going to talk about, but the Buddha's birthday, the flower festival used to be actually my favorite festival when I was in Japan, when I grew up in Japan, and because it was also the festival for children. And so we dress up kind of nice clothes, and also walk on a street, putting the elephants, white elephants on the top, and then on the top of the thing, there's a little Buddha like this. And then we just go around what do you call it, the village. And so we stay in the end, we receive all the, sweets and so forth. That was actually a memory that I have. But at the same time, I do have another parts of the memory, which normally people don't have, which is because the preparation part, because we normally start preparing the those hanamido, we call it, the flower shrine. And at my grandfather's temple, so we prepare the shrine decoration, various flowers. Then actually the last decoration, as always, the manji, the swastika, we place. And I make swastika with the chrysanthemum, yellow chrysanthemum. And that was my job, actually, because I was one of the oldest one among the cousins. So I'm always the one who take care of the swastika on the top of the shrine, And so I've been doing that for a long time, actually. Not that long, but at least, good 10 years or so. And until I became also adults too. So actually for me, the last one that I did make that flower, swastika is 1984. That's before the last year that I left Japan. So, but after that, I couldn't do that here, as you probably imagine. And so that's actually in fact, sorry, it's getting a little, breathe. Sometimes I speak a little bit like this way. And then after that, I just close again. Maybe I wanted to, maybe I will just show the screen too, because I have some photos you can see. And can you see this? Okay. So these are Vesak for today's. Okay, great. And so this part of so that's what I'm going to talk about today. So like this actually. So this is a different flower, the shrine, like this too. And some place that they have a center on the top. This is the last one. So after that, and we just put the little Buddha inside. And even this one was done like before the war. Oh, sorry. What happened to the picture that I wanted to have? Sorry, that it seems like it disappeared. This one, sorry. So this is a picture, it's like 1937. It's like a way before I was born. That's in California, Fresno, California. So at that time, it's before the World War II, right? So the Buddhist temple, they have celebrating the Buddha's birthday. and then I just circle to the round. But this is more like what I normally make in the end with a croissant spoon. And so it was actually a big festivity. You see that little, what do you call it, the boys are dressing up in a many different costumes. That's what I mean by, dressing up during that time. So that's actually the kind of memory that I normally have. Oops. What did you see now? Sorry. So let me just share some of the things here. And how can I, is that still pictures you can see? So maybe I'll just put this one as a little picture that you enjoy some of the parts. But so in fact, after I came to the US, I made the first flower, but the last flower arrangement, with a swastika in Seattle, 1986. The things what happened is that after I made it, all of a sudden, so the members came and they start taking out, you can't use this one here. This is not Japan, this is the United States. So that was a kind of an incident. And certain things is okay for this country, but certain things is not. So, and then, well, even actually at that time, it's talking about 35 years ago almost. So, there's no books, that Buddhist book in a Japanese, any of the regular bookstore. So they call, when we say I'm Buddhist, they think I say Baptist. Something like that. So it's the all different ages, sense. And then Dalai Lama was not there yet, I guess, not famous or anything. And so no Little Buddha movie. So that's why there's nobody really knows about the Buddhism itself. So I feel like a little understandable, but maybe in the future, if the Buddhism is known more, then people might realize, what the swastika means, or manji means for the Buddhist. And so in a way, I was actually convinced that I think, in this country, since it's that the swastika is, of course, a part of the, because of the Holocaust, this is the symbol that was considered as the evil symbol in this country, especially during the World War II. So we shouldn't use this symbol and hurt the people of the feeling, like a Jewish people and all the others. That was my conclusion at that time. Then, but after that, what happened is as I said, I was expecting the US people will, educate it and will understand the meaning of history of swastika symbol somehow, someday. However, in 2009, so about 10 years ago, interfaith leaders gathered in New York City, and one of the experts, or the guest speaker on a hate crime, and he said the swastika is a universal symbol of evil. And then, he said universal symbol of evil with a swastika. And then, however, this person didn't know what the swastika means for Buddhists, Hindus, Jains, and also some of the Native Americans. And then even that, he said, universal symbol of evil. So my feeling was sort of really changed in a way. So this ignorance needs to be stopped. And since then, so about 10 years, I've been working for bringing some correct information of the swastika symbols, as well as the Nazi symbols called Hakenkreuz. And actually, Nazis, Germany, they never call it swastika anyway, to begin with. They always said that's a Hakenkreuz, hooked cross. So even like, that's what I probably show sometime where is it? This one? It's like this is a German language. You can see this is the parts that Hitler explained what the Hakenkreuz is for, or hooked cross, I said now. But then this one is always translated as a swastika. Swastika and the Hakenkreuz are very different things actually in nature. Anyway, so nothing, swastika itself, first of all, nothing to do with the anti-Semitism, but then the cross, the Christian cross is very connected to the anti-Semitism too. So there's some kind of, what do you call it, confusion will be there. So anyway, so these days, after that, I published the book, The Buddhist Swastika and Hitler's Cross. If you read it, that would be nice, but if not, please read it. And also planning to start the even crowdfunding from day after tomorrow, May 3rd. And so this is the part of the documentary film, actually produced by the Jewish person and also Japanese director. Jewish producer and then the Japanese director. So I don't know, you may realize or not, but while COVID-19 was still spreading, on January 22nd, a couple months ago, this year, an educational bill, S2727, issued by the New York State, which requires instruction regarding symbols of hate to be incorporated into the curricula for grades 6 through 12. If passed, this bill will mandate that the New York school children be educated regarding the meaning of a swastika and nooses as the symbol of hate and intolerance. So this bill was actually withdrawn by Senator Todd Kaminsky on the March 25th, after hearing the voices from Hindu, Buddhist, Jain communities supporting by the interfaith representatives. We agreed, though, first of all, the Eastern group agreed that the intention of the bill to stop hate, but disagreed lack of understanding of swastika symbols and create unnecessary bias towards Asian people, because Asian people is the one who use the swastika. And we wanted to see proper education on a symbol. But anyway, so I just wanted to have one attention from you is there is a Hindu leaders and Jewish leaders have already gathered and agreed the swastika symbol. And then during the second Hindu-Jewish leadership summit held in Jerusalem in 2008, a joint declaration realizing the larger history of the swastika was made. So it said, let me you can read it probably also. And the swastika is ancient and greatly auspicious symbol of the Hindu tradition. It is inscribed on Hindu temple, ritual altars, entrances, and even account books, just like the same as Buddhism. The stored version of this sacred symbol was inappropriated by the Third Reich in Germany and abused an emblem under which heinous crimes were perpetuated against the humanity, particularly the Jewish people. The participants recognize that this symbol is and has been sacred to Hindus for millennia, long before the misappropriation. So as the religious leader or Buddhist leaders as the religious leaders already recognize the swastika, then the Buddhists should be able to also help to do the education or implements of this declaration as a educational material and so forth. And so for the Buddhists, in the end, the truth is matters. Education matters, and then also awareness matters too. So as we celebrate the birthday of the Buddha, I want to bring your attention to issues surrounding the swastika, particularly this year. I don't know how many people are really aware these things has been happening. So I just, as the part of the Buddhist Council being aware of what's happening, I just wanted to share with you. And then for me, as I said, the swastika means equal to the Buddha. And so that's the parts that I wanted to share with you today. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to quote from the sutra, very short one, since Buddhist parts of is very important. So I just wanted to quote something. Of course, those symbols you can see, or the Buddha's statues as a symbol of the swastika here and there, and even like ancient things like 25,000 or 3,000 years. Like this is a Hindu symbol from the what do you call it, Mohenjo-daro, and so yeah, the Jain tradition also. So those are things that you can see, and then you can find it later on. So thank you very much. I think that's it. And so I would like to quote, end with some quotes, maybe just short one. Maybe the last one that I sit in there. Oops. From the swastika, diamond-like adornments in his heart, the Buddha's heart, spreads a great bright light. From the Garand Sutra, Avatamsaka Sutra. So thank you very much, and I hope this is something that you can learn. And I think the Buddhists can do something too about telling the truth to everyone, because it's just education. It's not denying one part of the symbol, but try to kind of reconcile, I guess, in a way, to have a more dialogue about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you so much. And also make sure you take this
yes,
your award. And also
I don't know, award supposed to be going this way. Thank you so much.
So here's the box for it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't want to happen to it. Here you go. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. I want everybody, I know we're a little bit over, so I'm going to acknowledge that and not try to pretend like we're not. We're over a little bit, but let's try and work together. We're going to only be a little bit longer. And I want to introduce the next and final Dharma talk by Reverend Duncan Ryoken Williams, is a Soto Zen Buddhist priest, the chair of the religion department at the University of Southern California, and the director of the Shinso Ito Center for Japanese Religions and Culture. He is the author of American Sutra by Harvard University Press and The Other Side of Zen, Princeton University Press, and editor of 7 books, including American Buddhism and Buddhism and Ecology. Reverend Williams, thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for the kind invitation to join all of you in New York. I'm located here in California, but so nice to join all of you. This very happy Vesak day that unfortunately is happening in a time when, you know, we are facing 2 types of major illnesses. One is, of course, the pandemic of the coronavirus, and the other is, as Reverend Patinkyo Ohara mentioned, the illness of racism and exclusion of people based on race or religion. This type of thing, unfortunately, is something we are facing on multiple sides. And so it's in that context I want to speak a little bit about Buddha's birthday. As Reverend Inkyo was mentioning, here in California especially, we have been very aware of a number of, how should we say, temple vandalism and arson incidents. There was 6 Vietnamese American temples in just south of LA in Orange County that were vandalized in under 1 month. Then in my neighborhood in Little Tokyo in downtown Los Angeles, Higashi Honganji Buddhist Temple was vandalized about a month and a bit ago now. Stone lanterns outside were broken, and the attempted arson at the temple. And this unfortunately comes in the context of so many of our community members here in Little Tokyo, but also elsewhere in the Asian American community, but in many communities actually, somehow feeling like because of their race or because of their religion, that they become subject to animus or violence. And we know not so long ago in Atlanta, there was a horrific shooting of 8 people, 6 of them Asian women, one of them Yang Ah-yue, who was a very devout South Korean Buddhist person. And her family is very much in mourning about that loss. I think many of us also remember a few months ago in January, late January, there was a security camera footage of Vicha Ratanapakdi, elderly Thai gentleman, just taking his daily walk and assaulted and unfortunately passed away from that assault. So many of these incidents where our grandparents or elders of our community are subject to this type of thing. And so what can we do as Buddhists, for when violence comes our way or hatred comes our way? And today I thought, because of Buddha's birthday, I wanted to talk about one example on a different Buddha's birthday in a different era that's connected to this. Back in World War II, I think many of you know, about 125,000 persons of Japanese ancestry were suddenly removed from their homes and taken to these confinement sites in the American interior, surrounded by barbed wire and armed guards, these type of concentration camps, where they were placed, indefinitely. And 2/3 of that community were Buddhist, and 2/3 of the community also were US citizens. But no due process. They didn't commit a crime, but they were in these camps during World War II. And in one of them, a Buddhist priest who had been arrested on the day of Pearl Harbor, which unfortunately was another kind of reflection of maybe something that is happening today, this kind of seeing of a certain peoples and certain religions as not being American enough, or not belonging in America, or not even un-American, perhaps even like anti-American. They, back in World War II, or even the years before, Buddhist temples had actually been under surveillance for years prior to Pearl Harbor, that registries and lists were made of people who were considered threats to national security, and Buddhist priests, unlike Christian ministers in the Japanese American community, were placed on that list because of their religious affiliation. And so in one of these camps where a Buddha's birthday was held, December 41, they were there for a few months. And one of them wrote about a special Buddha's birthday where, as Reverend TK was talking about, usually Japanese Buddhist people, we like to have a hanamido, or this kind of flower kind of shrine where the baby Buddha is installed, and we have our flowers, and we try to pour the sweet tea. It's kind of to reminisce about the legends of the Buddha being born, where the heavens were so pleased that sweet rain fell and flowers fell. And so we have this practice like that, but nobody had a baby Buddha statue. Nobody had flowers in this desert internment camp. Nobody had an altar where they could place the Buddha, and nobody had sweet tea. But what they did have was army rationed coffee and sugar. And then they had paper wrappings in the mess hall that they could fold like origami into flowers, use some beets to kind of dye the flowers red. And one of the young men from the YBA, or the Young Buddhist Association, went to the mess hall and found a carrot, the largest one he could find, and carved a Buddha out of the carrot. So they held in this internment camp a Buddha's birthday, pouring sweet coffee on a carrot Buddha. I think there's some lesson in that for us today. Those Buddhist priests and others found a way to celebrate the Buddha's birthday in this most difficult of times when their lives had been disrupted, the homes taken away, temples shuttered, businesses lost, etc. And in that moment of disorientation, they came back to the Buddha. And they made the Buddha out of whatever they could have. And in my tradition of Soto Zen Buddhism, we have a teaching that comes from the Japanese founder, Zen Master Dogen. He has a text called the Tenzo Kyokun, the instructions or manual for guidance for the monastic cook, the Tenzo. And it's a very wonderful book in which he gives some guidelines for how to not only do the practical thing of serving in that position, but attitude we should have to be a good cook. And he talks about how not wasting things, and also having a good inventory, understanding of what is in the monastic kitchen. These are some of the many teachings that he provides in this text. And I feel like that way they did the Buddha's birthday back in this internment camp in World War II, they first made an inventory. What do we have? We have a carrot here, some coffee here, sugar. We will make some toilet paper, you know, and wrapping paper, flowers. And so they cooked up something. They were able to make something beautiful with what they had. And so I feel like on this times when we are facing these difficulties, we should ask ourselves, what do we have? Shine the mirror on ourselves to take an inventory. What do we as American Buddhists have that might help with all of the suffering that has come out of both the coronavirus and the pandemic and that illness? What medicines do we have? But also what medicines do we have around this issue of race, around the ways in which what is happening recently, this uptick in anti-Asian animus and violence, it actually has this very long history. Temples were being vandalized in the 1870s when the first Chinese temples had been established in the United States. This has, you know, history from World War II, et cetera. And so I think there's something about reckoning with this history, with what we might call the racial karma of a nation, that the inheritance those of us who live in the present have in whatever type of bodies we may be in, white bodies, black bodies, Asian bodies, mixed race bodies like myself. We inherit whatever our ancestors have brought to us, both positive things as well as imperfections, both things that were nicely resolved karmically in the past and those things that weren't resolved in the past that comes into our body and into our mind. And that inter or multi-generational karma of our country, this is something that is, I think Dogen was suggesting we take a good look at, take an inventory of. And yet that Buddha's birthday in that camp in World War II, the lesson for me is when we take a look at that, even if we don't have a perfect everything, we just have a carrot and some coffee to use, we still make the best possible result, not just for our own practice, but something that is going to be a meal or a offering of the Dharma to all beings. In the end, I feel like Buddhism is not so complicated. It's just something that says, let us look clearly and let us feel each other in our suffering. And when we do that, when we can see things and our interconnectedness well, then, and we can not just think about it, but we feel it, then I think we know that we're not alone, that we are not alone in our suffering, in what we inherit, what we are creating, but we're also not alone in our path. We're not alone in our liberation. And so that's why it's so wonderful to be with all of you in Sangha. That is such a wonderful treasure that the Buddha gave to us. And so out of respect for the Buddha and all of you Buddhas here today, thank you so much for this gathering, and let us heal together. Let us become liberated together.
Thank you so much, Reverend Williams. And I wanted to mention, Venerable Nakagaki just said that he's organizing the 49th day for, what is it again? Reverend Williams, would you like to mention the 49th day you're organizing?
Yes,
Please
sure.
do.
Happy to do so. We have a large expected large online live streamed event to happen this upcoming Tuesday on May the 4th, which lands right on the 49th day after the Atlanta shooting, in memory, first and foremost, of Young Yue, one of the Korean woman who died. And for her family, we wanted to do this, but then we would be also remembering and recalling all of these other people who have been unfortunately subjected to racial or religious animus. And of course, it's not just our community, in the Buddhist community. We know Jewish synagogues have been attacked. We know the Sikh community recently had a tragedy at the FedEx Center. There's so many things. So we're going to be doing a prayer at Higashi Honganji Buddhist Temple, one of the temples that was vandalized, and on the 49th day after the Atlanta shooting. And a group of 49 Buddhist monastics and priests and lay leaders will come together at that temple on that day to perform ritual, to have some perspective and Dharma talks in this thing. We have a website called www.maywegather.org, and it will have all the details about how to watch the live stream and what this gathering is all about. But if you have time, please take a look at the website, and if you have time, also please join us. We hope that it'll be a moment of healing and of perspective in these difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Williams. Before we go to the next part, I do want to take a moment out to get some clarification of a couple of things. First of all, I'm the president, but really the truth of the matter, this is a collective act. You know, we have Venerable Bhante Kandanya, former president of the Buddhist Council here. We have Venerable Nakagaki, a former president and still president emeritus. We have Dorshin and Venerable Doyen Park, both executive officers of the Buddhist Council of New York. You know, and also one of the members who could not be here, Sylvie Sun, who does a tremendous amount of work and gives us guidance on what to do and how to do things. She could not attend today because she had a family emergency. So I want you to know that, no, it's the truth of the matter is the Buddhist Council is you, and that we work and serve you so that the Buddhist message of hope and peace and love can be spread kindly into the society. So I wanted to say that before we went any further. And then also, I don't know if he's still here because we had so many people get bounced off. I don't know, Venerable Geshe Tashi Dorji, are you still here?
So just unmute himself.
Yes, if you're there, you can unmute yourself, but I don't think he may not come back. I cannot tell.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, he may not have come back. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a final closing group prayer, right? Are you going to be able to do it on the screen? Right, so Venerable Nakagaki is going to get to the screen. And then we'll say it together. And it's a Metta Sutta prayer that you'll see translated by, of course, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, who gave a Dharma talk today. And for those of us here in person, the screen, Venerable Nakagaki is going to share the screen so we can do the final prayer. There it is, beautiful.
Okay. So there's just one second. It's not there yet.
There it is. Here it is.
No, I mean, but I didn't share yet. Just
Okay.
1 second.
Why don't you share it?
This one, I guess. Is this the right one?
This is different. Right? This is different than the one you printed out. So I'll read it from here. It's okay. I can read it from right here. Yeah, this is the one. right, so let me read it.
Oh, okay.
It's different than the one we printed. It's okay. All right. 140, 146.
Oh, we start from one.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. We're gonna go, for those people who are here present, we're going from 146, you see? And then you'll see in your turn on the back, it'll be 151. All right, so let's do it together. You can stand here too.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
That's all
Can
right.
you see?
Yeah, we can stand here together.
Good.
May all living beings be happy and secure. May they be inwardly happy, whatever living beings there are, whether frail or firm without omission, those that are long or those that are large, middling, short, fine or gross, whether they are seen or unseen, whether they dwell far or near, whether they have come to be or will come to be. May all living beings be inwardly happy. No one should deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Because of anger and the thoughts of aversion, no one should wish suffering for another. Just as a mother would protect her son, her only son, with her life, so should develop toward all beings a state of mind without boundaries. And toward the whole world, one should develop loving kindness, a state of mind without boundaries, above, below, and across, unconfined without eternity, without adversaries, whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, as long as one is not drowsy. One should resolve on this mindfulness. They call this a divine dwelling here. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bhikkhu Bodhi, for the wonderful translation. And I want to thank everybody. This actually ends this year's Vesak celebration. I want to thank all of the wonderful speakers and also the people who gave the prayer chants. Specifically, I always do this. I just want to recap this so when we leave, a couple of things we heard. Dr. Gandani talked about the 4 immeasurable minds. Roshi said we need to be ever mindful of the source of the land of the Buddha's birth and renew our vow to make steps of love and compassion. Bhikkhu Bodhi told us stories. May we make new stories that are worthy of Shakyamuni's call to us. Venerable Nakagaki reminds us that we can make peaceful steps to restore the many symbols of our heritage and move forward with love. Reverend Williams also talked about the violence, and he said, however, that, and what he said, we are very fortunate, I took it from his speech, that we are very fortunate that we can practice in peace in this time, but we should remember those who suffered. We have to remember those who suffered and who made it possible so that we could practice as Buddhists today. That in fact, we owe a debt of gratitude that we have to practice with every day, mindful and being grateful of their steps before us, whatever their tradition may have been on this Buddhist path. So with that, I want to say thank you all. Thank you all the people on the Zoom.
Dedication?
Doyen? No, that's it. Yeah, so I want to thank all the people here. We're trying to be mindful of the time. That's what it was. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again. Yes, go ahead.
Very lastly, we just want, Doyen, if you don't mind, do the little chanting, but at the same time, we'd like to extend actually the our feeling of, especially like India, you know, this Buddha was born in India, and then of course there are many Tibetan people there too, but then India has a lot of trouble right now. So I would like to maybe stand up together, and then maybe, if you don't mind, leading the kind of prayer together, so that we will extend to particularly the India people suffering a lot this time. Okay.
Reverend TK?
Yes.
I just sent a link. If people want to make donations to support the healthcare in India, I just put a link over the chat.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, this is an organization called Avaz, which is collecting funds to provide assistance to the hospitals and the patients in India.
Okay. So that's in a chat. Okay, thank you.
It's in the chat box.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for sharing. So those who can, go to the chat, please check, and then yeah, help for their their efforts. So okay, thank you so much.
Maybe we can all end with offering the 4 great vows. I will read in English, then I will chant in Korean the 4 great vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them. Delusions are endless. We vow to eliminate them. Teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them. Supreme enlightenment is inconceivable. We vow to attain it. 중생무별 서원도 번뇌무지 서원단 법문무량 서원학 불도무상 서원성. Thank you.
It was very beautiful. Thank you, everyone. And please be safe, happy, joyful, and compassionate as you go forth.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.